Here we are in our first episode of Ken's dumb DCS campaign. And there goes our fighter escort. Well, they're gonna do a sweep over the red side of the... There's four of them. They're gonna do a sweep over the red side of the river as we're moving up. And here we go. Let's see how fast we can get to Caen. We're gonna try to fly pretty low to avoid enemy anti-aircraft fire, because they do have some batteries set up in the forest there to our left. So if you keep an eye on the radar altimeter down here where my cursor is pointing, that will show you how many feet off the surface I am. And it will probably hit 0 a couple of times before the end of the mission. But we'll see. So we're moving at 110 knots right now, which is a bit faster than we were going during the exploration of the beaches here. And I timed it. It takes me about 4 minutes to get from the destroyer to the citadel in the city. And here comes Pegasus Bridge. That is Pegasus Bridge. It is the first bridge on the right side of the river. And blue forces have set up some fortifications there on the riverbanks. We've got a bunker. We've got a bunker and some armor. Holding the west side. I suppose we're on the west side of the river. The red forces are on the east side of the river. And I think during this campaign I'm actually going to jump back and forth and fly some missions from the perspective of the red forces and some missions from the perspective of the blue forces. That way I can show off some Soviet equipment. And I have to be careful here because I have other helicopters scripted coming up and down the river. See, there's a CH-47 right there. A little too close for comfort, but the advantage of doing this in a simulator is if you crash, you can just reset it and try again. I'm having a lot of fun learning how the mission editor works. I think I'll be able to make some interesting scenarios in the future. It's quite a powerful editor. It definitely has limitations. I think I prefer the ARMA editor over the DCS editor, but this is interesting nonetheless. Here we can see, starting to see in the distance, artillery strikes being carried out by both sides. So the red forces have started shelling the city of Caen, and blue forces they've got some counter fire there. Here we have some really exposed armor on this island. Probably should set some cover up for them if they're going to be sitting there. Maybe we'll make that a mission somehow. Whoa! You can see the city is definitely burning. And it is kind of tricky because if I get too close to these shells, they will affect the helicopter in a negative way. There's the Citadel there right in front of me. And there's an emergency hospital set up in there, as well as a little artillery battery. That's what's causing all that smoke, those wonderful 2007, 2008 particle effects that the developer of this game keeps promising to update. I don't know if we'll ever see modern effects in DCS, but it would be nice someday. And those tents, the row of tents in the front, that's the medical station. So now I just have to find a place to land in there. Without colliding into trees or ground vehicles. There we go. Oh, let's not settle with power. Let's not settle with power. Of course I'm gonna crash this thing. I flew this mission about 10 times. While I was building it. Come on. And this is the first time I've had trouble getting the helicopter on the ground. There we go. We're down. Where's my camera? So, unloading and loading, unloading and loading. There goes the artillery. You can see the city's getting devastated. Our artillery's firing onto the other side of the river over there, and their artillery's firing into the city. And there goes my clock. It's 7 a.m. here where I live. We'll just wait for that to finish and then we'll take off. Let's not hit the trees going up. And the recording software I'm using is called Snagit. I really like it. But it definitely does impact my frame rates, which makes it a little harder to fly than I'm used to. I tend to overcorrect a bit because the frame rates aren't quite as smooth. So hopefully I don't screw this up when I get back to the destroyer and land myself in the estuary. Another mistake I've probably made is putting the artillery in the Citadel with the field hospital there. I don't think that is appropriate, having artillery right next to a field hospital. For multiple reasons. I mean, it makes it a target for the enemy, and it also, I'm sure the concussive force of those 105mm guns going off every few seconds, I'm sure the surgeons don't appreciate it. So in future missions I'll try to be more careful. So for now we'll just say it's an emergency triage and there's no surgery going on there. And we're carrying the wounded now back to the ship. And they've converted the destroyer's hangar into a surgery. Which makes this mission even more important. And as I get further into this campaign, I'll make up more dumb story to go along with it. Try to make it interesting. And it won't always be in the Huey. Sometimes I'll fly jets, sometimes I'll fly the Russian Mi-8 helicopter from the other side. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll even try some attack helicopters. There's a couple of attack helicopters in this game. I think this is Pegasus Bridge again. Yep. This is Pegasus Bridge, because we've got those tanks parked there. So we should be getting pretty close to the frigate. We should be able to see the ocean once we get around this last bend here. And there it is. Now for the tricky part. Landing on the back of the frigate. And I swear I've practiced this and done it probably 30 times, just flying a pattern around the frigate, landing safely, taking off, flying another pattern. But of course, once we get on to the recording, that's when I'm gonna screw it up and crash into the sea. We'll see. One thing I know for sure, that while I produce this series, I am going to crash. I'm going to blow up. I'm going to screw up my objectives. But that should just make things more interesting, really. Here we go. We've got our speed under control, down to 20 knots. Don't screw this up, don't screw this up, don't screw this up, don't screw this up, don't screw this up. Oh, I'm going too fast. Don't screw this up, don't screw this up. I'm going way too fast, and I'm going to screw this up. Yep. Going around. I knew that was going to happen. I just knew it. At least I didn't wind up in the drink. Here we go. This is a much better approach. I've got a little more control here. I've got plenty of fuel. There's no rush aside from the injured personnel we have on board screaming. Nice and gentle. You can't let backseat drivers push you around. There we go. We got her now. Nice smooth landing. And mission complete.